Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here and welcome to a special bonus edition of the Model Railway News. Now just last week Hornby announced their new TT120 2025 range, and there's actually so much to talk about in this range that I've decided I'm going to do a full video on this and go into some detail. So very exciting stuff. I've got a lot of thoughts to share with you on all of this, so let's jump in. First things first, they've announced two brand new locomotives. These were locomotives that I don't think they dropped any hints about before last week, so real surprises. And the first locomotive comes in the form of a train set. And it's this train set, the branch line freight train set, which is remarkable really for a couple of reasons. And the first reason is the price. Now, I've been saying from the start that low prices are absolutely crucial to attracting newcomers into TT scale. And obviously the main way that people start with model railways is through a train set. So the cost of a train set is massively important. And so far the cost of Hornby's TT train sets has been pretty high really. I mean, the Intercity 125 set costs £249.99 at RRP. The Easterner set is nearly £200 at £194.99. And the Scotsman set with its illuminated Pullmans now costs £249.99. So up to now we've been talking an awful lot of money to get up and running in TT scale. Well, this new train set cuts that price in half. So the RRP for this set is £99.99, so that's below the £100 barrier, and at the retailers it's even less at £89.99. So this is much more accessible than some of the premium sets in terms of price, which is just wonderful for TT scale. It's exactly what the scale needed. Now, newcomers, beginners, they can afford to give TT a try without having to spend sort of £200 to £300. That was a massive barrier, so brilliant work. The other remarkable thing about this set is the locomotive. Like I say, a brand new locomotive to TT, never been seen before or even mentioned before as far as I know. So this is an all new LSWR Class B4 in Southern Black. And currently the only way to get this locomotive, I believe, is through this train set, which is kind of unfortunate for those who have already got a track layout. But then again, the cost of this entire train set is way less than Hornby's previous tank engine, that was the J50 in TT scale. So even if you're not bothered about the track, it's still quite an affordable way to get a new TT loco. They showed some samples for this model in their launch video, and this shows the loco looking really lovely actually, if fairly simple, with mainly moulded detail I would say. But with the price of £89.99 at the retailers, obviously this is going to be a pretty simple train set. We're not expecting to see the same level of detail as some of the more expensive, more premium TT models. I would guess that this B4 tank is going to be similar to Hornby's cheap basic 040s in 00 scale, although noticeably this B4 is to scale. It looks like it's the correct length, unlike the new B4 that Hornby announced in 00. But even though that's the case, this model still looks pretty decent. Looking at the renders, there's a fair bit of detail on this. Yes, a lot of it is just moulded on, but it's a brand new tooling, so it's not as though these are aging 040s like some of Hornby's 00 ones are that date back decades and decades. At least this is a new tooling, at least it's going to have decent moulded detail. So yeah, it's a simple locomotive by the looks of it, but by no means is that a bad thing. TT scale really needed an affordable locomotive, and I think this fits the bill quite nicely. The rolling stock is quite interesting as well. It comes with two wagons, an open wagon and a van, and I'm pretty sure these are new as well. I've not seen these before. They seem to have larger wheelbases than the wagons we've seen previously in TT scale, and I'm very sure that I've never seen this van before, so this is quite exciting as well. In fact, funnily enough, this seems to mirror the 00 scale B4 train set that Hornby recently announced as well. Except of course it's slightly better, I would say, because the B4 tank actually has proper proportions this time. Looking at the contents as well, this set seems to come with a lot more track than I was expecting as well. In 00 scale, a lot of the cheaper sets of this kind of price, they don't tend to come with points and a siding, but this one does, so you've actually got a decent amount of track here for sort of less than £90. If you're interested in pre-ordering this set, I do have affiliate links down in the description. So that takes care of the more affordable side of Hornby's 2025 range. Let's now look at some of the more premium models, which, yes, are quite a bit more expensive. So the main announcement for this range would be this, the new LBSC Terrier. So a pre-grouping locomotive for the first time, and also the first southern region locomotive Hornby have announced in the range, which obviously drastically broadens the horizons of Hornby's TT scale. We've got something for southern modelers now, and we've got something pre-grouping, which is just awesome. Just what TT needed, I reckon. So it seems as though this loco has been revealed after quite a lot of work. So apparently the design work was signed off last summer and it went into tooling. They've had engineering prototypes for a good few months now, apparently, and the next step is waiting for decorated samples with an estimated release date before Christmas of this year. So it's not as though they're announcing this loco at the start of the project. Lots of work has been done, I would say more than half of it, so that actually it's not too long to wait for the release of this thing. They've announced 3 Terriers to start with in very different liveries. So you've got the pre-grouping LBSC Improved Engine Green, obviously they had to do that one. They've got a post-grouping Southern Green, obviously, again, makes perfect sense. And to finish off the trio, they've got a BR Black example, which takes care of BR modelers. So a very sensible range to start with, obviously covering at least 3 eras there. Very sensible, nicely planned out. Now, the price, yeah. Quite expensive this, £159.99 RRP. That's only £5 away from Hornby's much larger 00 scale Terrier. And even at the retailers, this is going to cost £143.99. So obviously that is a heck of a lot of money, especially compared with the entire B4 set, which is miles cheaper. However, looking at the locomotive and hearing about the specs, I must say I'm pretty impressed by this thing. So first of all, this is going to have a coreless motor, which is something that Hornby have shied away from in the past actually. They've tended to use traditional motors even in their small locomotives, and I think with the case of the 08 shunter, that has kind of come back to bite them a little bit. I think coreless motors are a fantastic idea for a smaller scale such as this, because they are obviously tiny and they've got great torque even down to the slow speeds. So for a tiny little TT shunting locomotive, small passenger locomotive, a coreless motor like this is going to be essential. Very good choice, I think. The Terriers are also going to be virtually entirely made from metal, as you can see from the sample here that Hornby showed in their launch video. So that is fantastic. I mean, this is a tiny locomotive. Traction was going to be an issue, particularly if this loco was made entirely out of plastic. So instead, we've got a truly high quality all metal model, metal chassis, metal running board, metal body, boiler, etc. It's going to be a decently heavy model, and in fact, Hornby's 00 scale Terrier only had the die-cast chassis and the running plate. So in some ways then, this Terrier may be better quality than the 00 one. So this is not cheap to buy. It's very, very expensive in fact, but at least it's not a lightweight plastic toy or something. At least we're kind of getting what we pay for here in the fact that the model is almost entirely metal. In terms of the other specs, Hornby have been a little bit coy about this. Obviously, my expectations are quite high for this model given the price, so whether they've been able to fit in exchangeable route indicator discs or lighting perhaps inside the firebox, not sure yet, hoping to find out more about this soon. So apparently decorated samples are on the way soon, and the planned release, like I say, is before the end of the year, so fingers crossed we'll be seeing more from these locomotives in the immediate future. Right, the next major announcement is of course some rolling stock to go with these new Terriers, in the form of these, a brand new range of 4-wheel coaches, just like the ones available in 00 scale. These are available in LBSC livery. They've got a range of Southern Railway 4-wheelers as well, and of course some BR liveried coaches too. So that's one livery for each of the Terriers announced. Great bit of planning from Hornby there. That means that every Terrier has got something to haul. That's really good. There's 4 different coach types announced, so that consists of the third class brake, full brake as well, which I think is just exclusive to this livery. They've also got the first class coach and the third class coach. So at the moment this is a much smaller range than the 00 scale 4-wheel coaches. There's no 6-wheel coaches, for instance, and there seems to be a few less variations in this range maybe. But they're still nicely detailed, as you can see from Hornby's video here, and each livery isn't just a repaint either. They have detail variations, including different roof furniture, for example, so that's gas lighting for the LBSC examples, but electric style lighting for the later liveried versions. So there's certainly been some work put in here to make these coaches relatively premium, as well you'd hope, because once again, they're not that cheap. The full price is £34.99 each. That is much more than the 00 scale ones when they first came out. And at the retailers, you're talking about £31.49 each. So they are way up there in terms of price, aren't they? But having said that, looking at the level of detail on these coaches, they are actually quite similar to the 00 scale ones. That's because the 00 scale ones were quite simple, but that does also mean that they're able to get about the same level of detail on the smaller TT ones, which I guess does kind of explain why they're about the same price. Looking at the samples here, you can see they've got separately fitted roof furniture, not just moulded on. They've got separate footboards, just like the 001 as well. Metal turned buffers, which I like to see. Vacuum pipes separately fitted to the buffer beams. So not simple coaches. Whether they're quite going to be worth 30 odd quid, I'm not sure, but yeah, they seem to have been done properly, don't they? So if you're interested in any of this stuff, affiliate links down in the description. Right, there's a third locomotive to talk about now. It's not such a surprise because Hornby have sort of soft announced this one in the past, but up until now we haven't been able to place pre-orders for this. We haven't known the price or the specs for this model. So now properly revealed, it is this, the Hornby Class 37 in TT scale. And this is available to order now in both analog and DCC sound fitted format. The DCC ready price is £159.99 RRP, or the sound fitted version with the HM7000 chip, of course, is £214.99. So that's only £55 more for the sound fitted version. That is fantastic value. Quite tempting almost, actually. This is also exactly the same price as Hornby's 66 in TT scale, so provided this is finished to the same standard, the value here should be pretty good, I would say. Liveries include BR Blue, this is Loch Rannoch. There's a plainer BR Green livery as well, which actually looks quite fetching, I think. And there's a later EWS livery for something more modern. So they're following their usual pattern of announcing 3 locomotives to begin with. If the other locos are anything to go by though, there will be more 37s in the future. So that's pretty much it for the new announcements. I think they're fantastic announcements and I'm looking forward to each and every one of them. But I do kind of feel like, you know, is that it? This is supposed to be the range for 2025, that's a whole year. I guess I was kind of expecting and hoping to see the range grow a little bit faster than that. However, Hornby have teased that there are more announcements on the way, so maybe that's not it for the year. However, while that's it for the new tool announcements, there's a lot that's returning to the range, which I think makes up for this quite a bit. So the first returning locomotive is the Class 66, which is back with a few new liveries. So we've got the GBRF livery, that's Sunderland. There's an EWS livery as well, that's 666022. And there's also a Freightliner livery too. Love the Freightliner livery on a 66, and that's 66619. Like I said a minute ago, this is what Hornby do. They announce 3 locomotives, get those released. Then once they're gone, a few more liveries will follow. But yeah, this means that there's now quite a bit to choose from in terms of Hornby's TT Class 66. Brilliant for modern image modelers. The new price is £159.99, which is the same as batch 1. So really appreciate seeing no price increase on this locomotive. Sadly, that's not the case for all of Hornby's announcements, but it is for the Class 66. The next loco returning is this, of course, the Class 43 HST train packs, also with some new liveries. These are the Virgin livery, which looks fantastic, really love that. And there's just one more this time, which is the GNR livery as well. Plus, they've got Mark III coaches in matching liveries available to order as well. Unfortunately, the locomotive train packs are now £239.99 RRP, which is about £20 more than it cost originally. So that's less good, I think, because the HST packs were quite expensive in the first place. Shame to see the prices going up and not down over time. The next loco returning is the 08, which has made a return with just one new livery this time, another variation of BR Blue, but now for Era 8, which I think is later than the previous Blue 08. It's also got a new price, which is now £149.99 RRP, which again is a lot higher than the 2023 price, which was actually less than £120. It was £118.99 originally, which means this has increased by just over £30. And I have to say, in terms of the 08, I'm not quite convinced this is worth that. It was quite a simple model, I found, when I reviewed it, and I would say it's my least favourite of Hornby's TT models. So I guess it's good news that there's only one of them, but yeah, that price is starting to sting a bit now, isn't it? Also back is the Coronation class. We've got the Duchess of Sutherland now in the LMS Maroon, which is £179.99 RRP now, or £161.99 at the retailers. So that's a price increase of about £12. So yeah, I think it's a shame to see the prices creep up like this. It would have been really nice to see the prices at least stay the same for these second batches, given that all of the toolings already exist and they're not having to invest in new toolings. But then again, maybe they're still paying for the original tooling. You know, TT is still quite niche. Yeah, maybe that's a possibility actually. The Pullmans are also coming back with 3 new names by the looks of things. The HFA hoppers are back in a pack of 3 now, which costs £80.99 or £72.89 for the pack of 3 at the retailers. That works out at £24.30 each, which is more than I paid for mine, which was by itself and not as a pack of 3. Again, if you're buying in bulk, if you're buying 3, I would expect to pay a little bit less rather than a little bit more. Yeah, bit steep on price these. They've also got the same with the TTA tank wagons. These are now available in a pack of 3 for £89.99 or £80.99 at the retailers. That works out at £26.99 each, which again is more than I paid for my single TTA tanker. And the real kicker this time is that you can buy one by itself, yet it's even more expensive. Ouch. They've got the IFA container flats at £46.69 at the retailers. They've also got a triple pack for the 12-ton tankers as well, which works out at £24.30 each at the retailers or £25.19 each for a single. So there you have it. Absolutely fantastic to see Hornby's TT range growing so much, and it's great to see some of the prices staying the same as well. It is a shame though to see so many of the prices creeping up, because I think particularly with some of the rolling stock, the high price was the main reason not to invest in some of these models. And of course, now that the prices are even higher, that's not going to help things, is it? The pricings also seem a little bit weird to me in places. I mean, the difference between the TT Coronation class and the Terrier, for instance, is £15, whereas the difference between a Terrier and a Coronation in 00 scale is more like £100. So yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Is the TT Coronation particularly cheap, or is the TT Terrier particularly expensive? Maybe it's a bit of both. Same thing with the Terrier and the coaches as well. You know, these are quite expensive, but I think at least with these you can see where your money's going, particularly with that Terrier, with all of that detail and of course the quality metal build. I do think that new train set though is the saving grace on value. It's fantastic to see something that is truly very, very affordable. And I'm looking forward to see what else comes out in this vein. You know, are we going to get a TT railroad range? Are there going to be more simple locomotives, more simple rolling stock, which is more affordable like this? Maybe that's the way that TT should go. I'll be fascinated to see how well this set sells compared with the more premium train sets. Difficult to call, really. Are people going to prefer the cheaper sets, or are they going to prefer the detail and quality of the more expensive sets? I don't know. Very curious to see how this new B4 set turns out, and of course can't wait to see the locomotive itself. But there you go. Anyway, a decent little range. I guess I was expecting to see a little bit more in terms of new locomotives announced. Maybe, you know, 3 or 4 new locos for the year would have helped the range to grow a little bit more. But hey, at least we've got something. There really wasn't very much in 00 this year that Hornby announced, so I guess TT is slightly more prolific now for Hornby than 00. Anyway, like I say, there's more scope for announcements this year, so maybe we'll see more as the year goes on. But for now, that is just about it. Thank you so much for watching. Comment down below, let me know your thoughts on this new range, and if you'd like to check out any of these models, possibly create a pre-order or just look at the liveries, I do have affiliate links down in the description. For now though, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon for another video. Alright, cheers folks, you take care.